What's up everyone, we're back again with the next monotype showcase, and it's going to be the first one of the Crowth Tundra DLC because the meta is slightly settled down now, so I think I can play the meta now more with kind of what's going to be in line with the ban list that's going to come in the future. So sorry it took so long for me to upload this first one, even though the DLC's been out for probably 2 weeks at this stage, I think. But I am definitely enjoying the meta a lot more now. So today is going to be Mono Rock, and let's jump right into the team. So with Mono Rock, I think it's the kind of type that's pretty good now, especially more so than it was back in the beginning of this generation when it was basically borderline unusable in my opinion. But it got so many good tools back, and most of its good tools came back in the Crowth Tundra DLC, which is really nice. So we do have a couple of those on my team. Actually, 4 of those, Aerodactyl, Amistar, Stack Attack, and Night Ego, are all back from the Crowth Tundra. So this team is really, like, I think, a good starter showcase to the DLC because there's a lot of new type Pokemon back. So the first member of the squad is going to be Tyranitar, and Tyranitar is going to be mainly a support Pokemon, providing Sandstorm for the team for 8 turns thanks to the unban of Smooth Rock. So the Smooth Rock will not only allow me to do a bit of chip on the opponent, breaking things like Sturdy and Sash, as well as being able to slowly whittle down my opponent, it will allow my team to have 1.5 times special defense for 8 turns every time Tyranitar comes out, and it can also override other weather effects like Hail to stop Aurora Veil, Rain in the water matchup, and Sun in like grass or fire matchup. So overall, having the stand up is super nice. Moveset wise, you have Thunder Wave, which is good team support, slowing down my opponent and potentially para hacks in them. We have Stealth Rock, and there's not too much explanation needed here. Stealth Rock is just a great entry hazard to chip away opponents alongside with the Sandstorm. Crunch, because it's a nice stab, as well as being able to hit things super effectively like psychic types, like ghost types, kind of things like that, and just generally being good stab. And finally, Earthquake for those ground types in the tier, the steel types in the tier, which obviously are going to give me hassle. And the team has a good few rock attacks, so I didn't think it needed necessarily Stone Edge. EV wise, we're a max attack and animate nature with max HP, just to be kind of an all-purpose bulky mon who can also deal tons of damage with things like Crunch against, as I said, the ghost and psychic types in the tier. Next up, we have Colossal, and I'm going to apologize in advance because for some reason I constantly swap between Colossal and Colossus. Just for some reason I cannot remember his name properly, but it's Colossal because I'm reading it in front of my head and in front of my eyes, but I will forget that soon, don't worry. So Colossal is kind of going to be a steel / grass check on the team. It's surprisingly bulky, having great HP at 424 and nice defense with 372, fully invested with a bold nature. Now its special defense actually is quite impressive too at 216, and this is further boosted by the fact it's going to get sand boosted to over 300, which is quite nice. Moveset wise, we have Rapid Spin, which is good for clearing away hazards like Stealth Rock, Sticky Web, Toxic Spikes, and the likes. Because the team does lack kind of support in that regard and has not much other way of dealing with entry hazards. Next we have Tarshot. Tarshot's kind of an interesting one, but I think it's quite useful for kind of threatening more bulky Pokemon out, or especially ones that want to try and boost in your face, because they get a -1 speed, which along paired with the Rapid Spin kind of lets Colossal outspeed some mid-speed Pokemon after a +1 boost from Rapid Spin and a -1 from Tarshot. But on top of that, the Pokemon become weak to fire, which is super good because its special attack isn't that impressive. It's only 80, and uninvested it's not very good. But this basically guarantees most Pokemon in the tier to either be neutral, super effective, or like quad effective. Sometimes even like 6 or 8 times effective. I'm not sure how the multiplication works. But things like Ferrothor and Scizor, especially after a Tarshot, are simply not going to live a Flamethrower, which is quite good. And finally we have Will-O-Wisp for team support. It's really good to burn some of the physical attackers in the tier, especially because Colossal is quite bulky on the defensive side, allowing it to actually surprisingly eat some water and ground attacks, even though it is 4 by weak to them. As well as that, we have Flame Body, which is good for stopping momentum with things like U-turn, even Flip Turn. If a fighting type wants to spam close combat or Mach Punch, they do run the risk of being burnt by Colossal, which is great team support. So next up we have Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl is another Pokemon on the team that's good for the flighting matchup. Also quite good for the grass matchup and decent for the ground matchup, though can't really break through a lot of them. It provides the much needed Earthquake immunity thanks to its part flying typing, and we have a Focus Sash to guarantee live a single attack, which lets it often Dragon Dance up in their face. So it got Dragon Dance in the DLC, which is really good because on the offensive side, this thing is fast and decently strong as well. It is very frail, which is why we have Focus Sash. Next up, we have Stone Edge because it's just generally quite a strong Rock Stab. Though a little unreliable, I might end up having to change to Rock Slide to get that flinch chance depending on how the matches are going. So next up we have Dueling Beat. Dueling Beat is pretty good because it lets us hit the fighting types in the tier. It lets us hit the grass types in the tier for like super effective damage. As well as that, it hits twice. So what's good about that is it can break things like Sash, Sturdy, Disguise, that kind of stuff, and still hit through the actual Pokemon. Especially after a couple of Dragon Dances, this thing's attack does skyrocket quite high, so Dueling Beat does hit pretty hard. And last but not least, we have Earthquake, which again is for the steel types in the tier, which can give the team hassle, as well as hitting some things neutrally and hits poison types nicely, like Toxapex, which can definitely give the type a bit of trouble. Next up we have Amistar, and Amistar is one of my favourite Pokemon on the team. So we have a weak armor Shockberry Amistar, and this thing naturally has pretty good defense at 125, which is really impressive uninvested. This lets it eat up an Earthquake with great ease, and then activates its weak armor, increasing its speed 2 stages. On that turn we can Shell Smash, increasing my speed again 2 stages, giving me 4 stages of speed, patching up its not very nice speed to well over 600, which is really good, and puts its already impressive special attack to 722, which is really good, because the rock type in general kind of does lack good special attackers, so Amistar is really nice in that regard. Moveset wise, you have Scald because it's great stab, as well as being able to potentially pass around some burns in the team. We could probably go for Hydro Pump or Surf for that immediate bit more power, but I don't like the unreliability of Hydro Pump, and the burns can often be quite nice. Even in the water matchup, after a couple of Shell Smashes, in the rain, Scald can do some serious hurt to the opponent. Next up we have Ice Beam. Ice Beam is great for tearing through grass types in the tier, for flying types in the tier, for dragons in the tier, which is one of the bigger ones that check is the dragons, because dragon is quite a popular type and it's a strong type as well, so having that Ice Beam to clean through them, things like Garchomp, even Landros is really nice. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, it's super good against the ground matchup, which is what Amistar is kind of solely on the team for. And finally we have Earth Power. Earth Power is good for hitting things neutrally that may resist your water stabs, like water stab and ice coverage, like the water types in the tier, or just generally hitting steel types super effectively is quite nice too. Next up we have Stakataka, and Stakataka is a good late game sweeper, so Stakataka is really good to be able to collect Trick Room, especially when the team is weakened. With his Air Balloon, it can't be one-hit KO'd by ground moves outside of the effects of like Gravity or something, or unless they pop the Air Balloon first. So the Air Balloon kind of gives you that wall of safety to allow you to get up Trick Room before your opponent can one-hit KO you. Unfortunately, it can be one-hit KO'd by things like fighting attacks, so we do have to be worried about that. Moveset wise, you have Trick Room and then Gyro Ball, because this thing's speed is absolutely abysmal, and we will discuss this weird stat spread now in a second. Because its speed is abysmal, it generally allows your Gyro Balls to be really fast because you're in Trick Room and will generally move first, and typically be 150 base stab, which is just hits super hard. Next up we have Heat Crash, which is new in this DLC, which is good because it can hit things like Ferrothorn, Caesar, Kartana, just generally steel types, and quite hard because Stakataka is fairly heavy as well, so that is really good for hitting grass types and steel types in the tier. And finally we have Stone Edge for just a good bit of stab coverage. It is 100 base, which is very strong and hits a lot on the type kind of neutrally, because Rock is generally quite a good offensive type. So let's discuss this weird stat spread. Why is it a minus defense lonely nature without max IVs? Simply put, we want its attack to outpace its defense by exactly 1 point, so when it does activate Beast Boost, it will always get a stage in attack as opposed to a stage in defense. So its defense is still really good even with a minus nature and not full IVs. The rest we pump into attack, HP attack obviously to get the Beast Boost, HP to make it a mixed bulky mon so it can still take physical attacks quite nicely, and in the sand it hits 360 special defense, which is really good too, paired with its already decent HP. So lastly we have Nihilego, and Nihilego is good on the team because of its part poison typing. It takes neutral damage from fighting and grass, which are two matchups that are naturally quite hard for the rock type. So with Beast Boost and Choice Scarf, it is my immediate speed control in the tier. Stakataka, Aerodactyl, and Amistar, of course, do have their own kind of form of speed control, but Nihilego offers that immediately when it comes out with Choice Scarf. So with a max speed timid nature, it hits quite nicely, a quite nice speed tier, while still having the special attack to gain a special attack stage every time it gets a KO thanks to Beast Boost. On top of that, its special defense is really nice, hitting just shy of 450 in the sand, and its HP is actually really good too. So in general, it's just quite a good special defense wall, while also being that speed control that can snowball into an offensive menace. Moveset wise, we have Power Gem because it is nice stab. It's also a bit of special rock coverage, which we need, because other than that, we have no special rock moves in the type. We have Sludge Wave, which offers that immediate bit more power than Sludge Bomb. Unfortunately, it does have a lower poison chance, but since I figured Nihilego is a bit more of a sweeper than like a setup, and we already have quite a bit of status conditions in the team with T-Wave, Will-O-Wisp, and Scald. So I figured we want that immediate bit more power, and because it's stab, it's going to hit things like Fairy and Grass really nicely, being able to tear through them, and just generally hit a lot of neutral types that don't have steel types on their team. Next up we have T-Ball, which is good for catching off like water Pokemon off guard, like Slowbro and Toxapex, who go a long way to wall my entire team, so T-Ball is nice for that. As well as that, it hits things like Gyarados, if we ever see that on a water matchup, in case we don't want to click Power Gem, for example. But the main reason it is there is for those water types in the tier. And finally we have Dazzling Gleam, and Dazzling Gleam is really good coverage for hitting dragons and dark types in the tier and fighting types in the tier. So after one KO, Nihilego gets a boost in special attack, and it's already quite speedy and has good special defense, especially paired in the Sandstorm. So it is quite hard for a lot of types to revenge kill this, especially in the special attack inside, and this thing can snowball into becoming a very offensive threat, with Dazzling Gleam cleaning through dragons, cleaning through the dark types, and cleaning through the fighting types, as I said. So let's jump right into some games, and hopefully we get some good wins. We'll be right back. So we have our first game, and it is against Mono Fighting, which definitely can give us a bit of trouble, but in this game, we do really value things like Aerodactyl and Nihilego might be able to play a good part, as well as potentially Colossus if I can get some key burns on the opponent. So let's open up Colossus and see they go into Conkeldurr, which unfortunately means we can't really burn them too much effect with Flame Body, because they do most likely have Guts, which is unfortunate for me. Now I definitely want to save my Colossus, so I think Tyranitar is probably the sack here, as they end up going for a knockoff, potentially giving me a Stealth Rock, but I think Mach Punch will get the KO here, as they actually go for a Drain Punch, which makes sense to get their HP back. And in this position, I think I need Arrow to do a Wing Beat. I don't think it quite picks up a KO, and it misses, so it absolutely doesn't quite pick up a KO. And here they can presumably click Mach Punch if they have it, and kind of just end this whole man's career. We'll click Dazzling Gleam, but I don't think it picks up a KO here, unfortunately, as it just misses out, which sucks because we don't get the Beast Boost for that at all. That could have been key in the endgame, as they take an Urshifu. Presumably they're going to go for a Sucker Punch here, so I'll go into Colossus and try and burn with my Will-O-Wisp. As they go for close combat, they unfortunately don't get the burn, but the Will-O-Wisp thankfully does anyway, so it's not too much of a difference here. This might let me set up my Amistar in their face if I'm lucky, as well as potentially have Nihilego sweep with Dazzling Gleam once we can get rid of Cobalion. So I'll Tire Shot, not too much effect, but I think I want to say I get an Amistar here, but it's quite dangerous. I really have to outplay the Sucker Punches, so we're going to Shell Smash as we get the weak armor boost. Now obviously their play here is a Sucker Punch, so I'm going to Shell Smash again in their face. I want to go again. I'm going to try again. So I have to outplay all these Sucker Punches, so I'm going to do one more. And they're on a timer now where the burn is going to KO, though they know if I do get this I win the game, so it's really just Sucker Punch reads here. They have 3 turns left of burn until they KO. I'm going to try Scald, and unfortunately they get the Sucker Punch KO. So that probably means it's game for me. I'll take in Nihilego. No, actually, they might go Cobalion, so I'll take in my Stack Attacker, which is kind of my last-ditch effort to try and win, as they roar me out. So this game is as good as over, I think. I'll Dazzling Gleam for a bit of chip. And I'll just try Trick Room here. Just in case they let me Trick Room, which they do, and we're going to Heat Crash. Which does not pick up a KO. For some reason they go for Toxic, that might have been a misclick. Unless they actually just have nothing against me. So Stone Edge misses and ends the game for me, unfortunately. So if Stone Edge connected there, I still don't think it could have beaten Keldeo. I'm not sure that KO, let's check. I'm just curious. Stack Attack +1 against Buzzwole. Let's assume it's Choice Scarf. So my Stone Edge actually doesn't even remotely kill anyway, so it didn't really matter there. I lost the game, so GG. We're going to pause till we find the next one. We'll be right back. So we have another game, and this one's against Mono Fire, so definitely slightly more in my favour, but things like Heatran and Cinderace can give me trouble, so I'm not going to just go ahead and assume I've won the game right off the bat. Now, I do love Nihilego in this game, especially to click Power Gem against most of their team. Especially when it's boosted, there's just not much they can do to eat it. We're going to, I think, open up Colossus, as it's probably the most expendable member. It's actually absolutely the most expendable member. It does nothing in this matchup. So I might save that for a sec. And open with Tyranitar. As they go into Heatran, we'll T-Wave this immediately. We do a great special defense thanks to the Sand. So I'm not too worried about getting KO'd there. We're going to throw Rocks down as well. And we're going to try break this thing's Air Balloon. And go for an Earthquake here. So this puts me in a great position now. They can absolutely defog away my rocks, but it also gets rid of their rocks, which is quite nice for me. As they go into Rotom Heat. I'll go into Colossus. They might defog here, or they might try to trick me. As they go for a Will-O-Wisp. So either way, the only thing Colossus is in any way good for in this matchup is Cinderace, which he actually swaps into hard, surprisingly. So we're going to try Will-O-Wisp this. As they go for a U-turn, good play. And we don't get the Flame Body, unfortunately. So they did actually trick us. That's kind of okay with me. I'm just going to get as much chip as here as I can. There's no point in me swapping out in this position. If I can take care of Rotom, it gives me another answer. It gives him one less answer to my Earthquake with Aerodactyl and my Earth Power with Amistar. So here I can kind of commence the sweep with Nihilego. I don't think Nihilego dies to a Sucker Punch. If it's not +1. So Blacephalon does outspeed me. There's no way this lives, is there? That's why we have the Calc. Volcanion. It's heavy duty boots. I'm going to say OU substitute just for the sake of argument. Yeah, +1, there's no way this lives. We knew it wasn't Assault Vest because it didn't take rock damage. So Blacephalon comes out, they can Psyshock me, I don't think it's enough to KO, and even if they did, I could swap into Tyranitar afterwards, assuming they were Choice Scarfed. GG, so we're going to pause behind the next game. So we have another losing matchup against Mono Ground, which is really, really unfortunate. Amistar can do a lot of work in this game, but it's going to be fairly difficult. And I think we'll try open Colossus as they go to Garchomp. And they can just click Earthquake here and pretty much pick up a KO. So we're going to try getting Aerodactyl. And Dragon Dance here. Unfortunately, we're forced to Earthquake because the dual wing beat will KO me, thanks to their Rough Skin. As we get a bit of chip on the Hippowdon. But probably not enough because they can just slack off this with great ease. So I'm going to try get an Amistar here. Just click Ice Beam once. On the Seismitoad. And we'll sack Arrow here. To an Earth Power. Tyranitar should be able to live one, but I don't see Crunch putting them in range of anything worthwhile. That's a lot of damage. I still think I lose to Excadrill. Though in this position I can get Stakataka and click Trick Room, though I expect them here to go into Hippowdon, so I'm going to try catch that and go into Amistar. As they ended up staying in, which is not good for me. I'm going for a Fire Blast. I'll go Colossus here because I don't want to activate my Shuca Berry just yet. And pick up a KO with Nihilego. Unfortunately, the endgame is looking non-existent here. My Balloon is intact and so is my Shuca Berry. But I don't see them being able to beat Lando. As they go for a Gravity. Great play. So Exca pretty much just picks up a KO here. We'll get a bit of chip with Dazzling Gleam. Actually, that's a decent chip. And they are Life Orb. I don't think they'll go for the Earthquake here. As they do, and I should live just about with my Shuca. I actually don't have my Shuca Berry because it is Life Orb, unfortunately. So we're going to take another loss there, unfortunately, but that is the way of Mono Rock, so we'll pause there till we find our next game. So we have another game, and against Mono Water is going to be certainly super difficult, so I have to play the Sand extremely well, and Pelipper in general is just a huge threat. I'm going to open up Aerodactyl. They surely don't open a Pelipper, and they can wall me out with Slowbro. I'm still going to open Aerodactyl and try to get as much chip off as possible turn 1. I don't have too much of an answer to Dracovish, unfortunately. Perhaps if I can burn it. This is going to be tough. Slowbro kind of walls most of my team as well. As does Seismitoad. So they actually do open Pelipper, surprisingly. And we're going for Stone Edge turn 1, just to get as much damage off as possible. As expected, they go into Slowbro to wall me out. But that's okay damage. We're going to Tyranitar to get rid of their rain and try to throw some rocks down, as I expect them to possibly teleport out. Presumably back into Pelipper to get up their rain. I don't think I died to a Scald, so I'll just crunch whatever comes out. As they give me great damage on Slowbro, now they're forced to swap out, so I can crunch again. And while my rocks are down, I am certainly pressuring the Pelipper, so I need to keep this Tyranitar alive at all costs. As now Nihilego is looking better and better in the endgame. So they go into Kingdra and give me a good bit of chip on this. In this position, I think Amistar is the sack, as it is Life Orb. Now, unfortunately, we don't outspeed because they have Swift Swim Rain. Boost, sorry. But we can go into Aerodactyl here and just click Earthquake because it's more accurate and I don't want to miss this crucial hit. Nice, so we get rid of one of their Swift Swimmers, which is pretty big for me. As Barrascuda comes out now, we have to make a big play here and hope to burn on the Liquidation. As they go for a Flip Turn. And the Flame Body unfortunately does not burn, which is big for me. So I can always go in Tyranitar here and click Crunch. But the endgame is looking very, very uncertain for me, unfortunately. As they teleport out into Pelipper. Now we saw earlier they were faster, weren't they? Yes, they were. I'm not about to risk him. So we sock the Aerodactyl on the U-turn, which lets me get up Sand again, but unfortunately they can just take in Barrascuda here and pretty much win the game. I don't see an endgame in which I can chip away the Pelipper in time. This looks to be choice banded, so I go into Stakataka here. Which will not actually die to the Flip Turn, surprisingly, which is pretty good for me. As I may be able to win this Weather War after all, if I go into Tyranitar here. I still don't see myself being able to beat Seismitoad. Maybe if I get enough boost with Nihilego, I'll get lucky. Okay, so that did exactly how much damage as I have HP left. We get rid of Slowbro, which is nice, and now they do not have their rain up at all because the rocks KO'd them. Unfortunately, as I said, it's still looking very uncertain because Seismitoad kind of walls out my entire team. And we're going to have to sack here to Barraskewda on the flip turn, as they get in Seismitoad and presumably win. Yeah, I don't see... Nihilego probably won't live this. It's 4 by effective, so I really don't see it happening, and there's no way Power Gem 2 at KOs. Okay, it's their physical anyway, so unfortunately my Air Balloon popped. If I had my Air Balloon attacked, possibly I could have won the game. So unfortunately that's a loss there, and we're going to pause till we find the next one. We'll be right back. So we have another game against Mono Ghost, and here again I value Colossus a lot, as well as Tyranitar. Aerodactyl can put in good work if I manage to get Dragon Dance up, so I think I'm going to try open up an Amistar here, as they go into Gengar, presumably wanting to go for a Focus Blast, so I'm going to go into Nihilego, who should easily eat. And we can just get a bit of chip here. I want to click Power Gem, but I expect Aegislash to come in, so I'm going to try double into Colossus. As Mimikyu comes out, which is actually perfect for me. So I can Wisp whatever stays in, or comes in, as they actually stay in with Mimikyu. That's okay for me. The Wisp here is quite nice, as Shadow Claw barely scratches me. I'm going to go for a Tar Shot, just to guarantee this next one KOs, or to weaken an opponent if they swap in. So Colossus actually put in a decent bit of work there, taking care of the Mimikyu, which can be quite deadly to my team. So Tyranitar is looking better and better with Mimikyu gone. If I can get rid of Aegislash as well, it's even better. I'll try Wisp here. They go for a King Shield and actually give me the Wisp. Fantastic for me because I can Tar Shot, which should allow me to outspeed them. Unless they're max speed. I'm gonna Flamethrower. Surprisingly they stay in. And I activated a weakness policy, but it does put them in range of the burn KOing them, which is super good for me. Tyranitar comes out again and expecting probably to go for another Focus Blast, but honestly, Colossus has done its work, so I'll just try Tar Shot to lower its speed as I go for a Shadow Ball. Letting me get in Tyranitar here and just click Crunch. Kind of picking up a KO on anything. I honestly think we live a Focus Blast, but I have to worry about Spectrier. I value Tyranitar too much, so I think I'd give him Nihilego, as I presumably pick up a KO here, which lets me get an Aerodactyl, as I actually go into Spectrier. Interesting. So there's Scarf. My Tyranitar definitely walls. In Sand, my Stack Attacker walls too, assuming it's not a crit. And here I can just click Gyro Ball and pretty much win the game. One of these is presumably Sash, but Gyro Ball, I don't think you live Gyro Ball. Yeah, and even if they were Sash, they get chipped away by Sand. GG, so we got another win and we're going to pause till we find our next game. Be right back. So we have a game against Mono Fire. Again, definitely a good matchup for Rock, but I can't just assume we've won off the bat because things like Cinderace can be quite tough for me. Again, it'll be a weather war here. I can get my Sand up over the Torkoal's Sun, which is super good for me. We're going to open up with Nihilego here and try to pick up KO as early as possible with Power Gem. Honestly, Power Gem cleans through most of their team, especially when Incineroar is weakened. So yeah, they're saying there that Fire got shafted, and it kind of did. It got like Entei, it got Heatran. Heatran's pretty good, I can't deny that, but definitely not the best overall. So they presumably, if they give me Rotom Heat here, it looks like it's going to be a clean sweep. as they actually survive. That is a very, very bulky Rotom. Really cool set. Okay, they end up giving me the game, and we're going to pause there until we find the next one. So we have another game against Mono Dragon. In this game, again, I love Amistar to be able to get a Shocka boost off the Garchomp. Unfortunately, I have to worry about Draco's ult. It can be quite tough for my team, but Nihilego is going to be great in the end game. So here I think I open up Aerodactyl as they go in Garchomp. I'm going to be cheeky and try to get a dance up. As they put down rocks, I'll get Earthquake. There's no kind of damage. As they Dragon Tail me into Tyranitar. So I don't want them KOing this on their terms. So I actually force a KO there, which is pretty good for me. Because let me get the Nihilego here and click Dazzling Gleam, which kind of starts a nice snowball game. I'm not sure if it one hit KOs Kyurem Black. I feel it won't. I expect Lati to maybe go for a Psychic move, so I'll take a Tyranitar here. And get rocks down, which play a big part in the endgame. To chip away things like Kyurem and Salamence. They go in Draco's ult. I don't think I need Colossus in this point. And if I can get the burn, that would be super good. Which I do. Nice. So this should let me get in my stack Attacker here, as I should live one. Get a Trick Room up, and start clicking Gyro Ball in the end game. It's looking really, really good for me. So I don't think I die to this. They can't Earthquake me because I'm on a balloon. And I don't think Bolt Peak will KO. Thanks to the burn. Nice. So I managed to live. I think Stone Edge KOs, as it doesn't. But their Bolt Peak doesn't KO either because they are suddenly much slower. The Gyro Ball picks up a KO there, and I should basically get 2 more KOs unless they have Protect or possibly Sucker Punch on Dragapult. They're taking Kyurem Black. I click Gyro Ball here again, pick up a KO. Looking pretty good for me in the endgame. And all that's left is Salamence. And I know Salamence dies to a neutral Power Gem, so we should win here because we do outspeed, I think, by a few points. Unless it has special defense investment for some reason. GG. So we're going to pause there until we find our next game. We'll be right back. So we have another game against Mono Dragon, which we can clearly tell is a very popular type on the ladder, based on how today is going. Now in this game, again, we love Nihilego, Stack Attack is pretty good, Amistar is fantastic, and if we get some key burns on Colossus, it's pretty fantastic for me. So I'm going to open up the Amistar here, expecting them to open up with Garchomp. They look like a Rocks lead Garchomp, which is exactly what they do. So we're going to try Shell Smash in their face. They're slower than me. Did they go for a Dragon Tail? Great play. I'll try to get a Wisp here. They might go for Rocks or Stone Edge, expecting me to go into Arrow. So we get the Wisp, which is pretty good, and I can just kind of rapid spin away their hazards. As they are Rocky Helm. I'll get my own rocks here, as they're going to Dragon Tail me around the place. So I'll try go for an Ice Beam, and we get rid of Garchomp, which was giving my team a good bit of trouble. Now I love Nihilego, it's looking better and better, especially since Garchomp is gone. The Dragonite's multi-scale is broken thanks to the sand, and Ice Beam still does a chunk of damage. Now they might have to go for an extreme speed here, which is exactly what they go for, KOing my Amistar, which is okay because Aerodactyl outspeeds in this position. And I think I can get a Dragon Dance up here. Ooh, Ice Punch does a lot. So I'm going to go into Colossus on the extreme speed. Hopefully I get the burn, that'd be fantastic. I don't, but I get a bit of Sand Chip, which is nice. We're going to go into Arrow here, on the Earthquake. And I expect them to think I'm going to go back into Colossus, so I'm going to be cheeky and try go for a dual wing beat. No, I meant to do dual wing beat, my bad. Okay. We're going to stack Attacker with the air balloon. The sand should chip it away and KO here. Leaving them at 1%, which is actually okay with me. It lets me trigger them up. Unfortunately, I don't get the beast boost, but I'm still in a great position where my gyro balls start doing an absolute monstrous ton of damage. I don't think they have anything that can really swap into 150 base. I think you die. This is 150 base stab. I don't think crit mattered there at all. Based on previous games, Lati just dies, and we ended up getting a win. So let's pause there till we find our next game. We'll be right back. So we have a game against defensive mono waters, so I'm pretty sure this is pretty much as over before it began, though we will try my best. And we value rocks so much in this game, as they open up Swampert, as they get their own rocks down. I'll just try crunch for as much damage as I can get off. As they end up flip turning, that did a lot of damage because it was a crit, that makes sense. So Lapras comes out here, picks up a KO, as we actually end up T-waving them. They go for Rain Dance. Good to know. I'll try crunch again. I think I value this thing being dead more than I value my sand at the moment. And I can potentially still get sand back up as they go into Pex. With the defense drop, the Earthquake will do tons of damage. I'm just going to Earthquake again. They can go into Slowbro easily to eat this. But I think in a position where I can spin away their rocks, I'm actually looking quite okay for me in the endgame. As they end up staying in, surprisingly. So I'll Earthquake again on the Baneful Bunker. I'll crunch here, expecting maybe Slowbro to come out as Azumarill comes out. I almost forgot his name there for a second for some reason. Now they can easily belly drum in my face. I think I'll give them Arrow, as they end up Whirlpooling. So they're that set. So they probably protect here, so I'm going to Dragon Dance. Go for a Stone Edge, which should do a good chunk of damage to them. As they get a 2-turn protect, unfortunately. I Stone Edge whatever comes in here. They can stay into KO me, but they take a lot of damage doing so. As they end up giving me Pex, which is really good for my team, as it doesn't look like they're running any priority. So Pex is one of the big issues on their team for me. I click Stone Edge again, unfortunately just miss out on the KO. But with Pex gone, Nihilego is looking so much better in the endgame. I'm actually going to try and rapid spin away these rocks as well as pick up a KO. If they're rest, that's not good for me. But we will see. They are rest, unfortunately. So I think Nihilego is the play here. Oh, they give me a KO on the Lapras. I think I click Sludge Wave, it's my strongest move. Now they can go easily into Swampert here. As they go Slowbro. Okay, but a +1 Sludge Wave is going to hurt. They go for a Future Sight, that's okay, because I can always swap into Duranitar the turn it's going to come out. So if I manage to win against defensive water, that's pretty big for me. Now we have to go T-Tar here to eat the Future Sight as well as get my sand back up. Nice. Now I should presumably outspeed and just go for an Earthquake here as they end up forfeiting, so we surprisingly won that game against all odds, and we're going to pause till we win our next one. We'll be right back. So we have a game against Mono Dragon. A Mono Dragon can be quite threatening, though Nihilego is really good in the endgame. 2-click Dazzling Gleam against things like Hydreigon, especially after a boost or some chip, it does tons of damage. I expect them to maybe open up Garchomp, so I'm going to open up with Omastar as they go Latios. We go hard T-Tar here, as we can't risk my Omastar, and get some Stealth Rocks down. We just about tank the Aura Sphere, which is pretty good. Great play if they go for a Psychic Attack here, especially onto Nihilego. Unfortunately, I don't have the courage to go into this yet, so I'm going to go into Aerodactyl as they defog. Good play, but I can get a Dragon Dance up here. And just go for a Stone Edge. Nice, we break through and kill Latios, which is huge for the team. Garchomp is definitely a threat. Hopefully if I can get it in with Amistar, I can Ice Beam it after live a Earthquake thanks to Shock Berry. They take in Garchomp. Now presumably they don't try and Swords Dance in my face, they just go straight for the KO, which is clever. So I'll take an Amistar here, and I'm going to go straight for an Ice Beam. I could have Shell Smashed there and potentially swept, but I was too afraid they'd swap out. Still taking care of Garchomp is big for me. And I should outspeed this, and they're going to risk a burn, as they are Choice Scarf. Interesting. I can't remember if Fusion Bolt makes contact. I don't think it does for some reason. It doesn't mention contact, so unfortunately we cannot burn with the Colossus, but I can just click Will-O-Wisp here. Knowing this is Choice Scarf is very big. Actually, yeah, that is Choice Scarf because it outsped Amistar after a weak armor. So we get the burn on Salamence, which is pretty big. I'll sack Cheetar to an Earthquake as a Dragon Dance. Not good for me. Though in this position, my Nihilego outspeeds, and I'm certain it KOs. I'm going to calc it just in case. Salamence, we'll just say Choice Scarf. Yeah, that KOs. Does Dazzling Gleam? Dazzling Gleam is such a roll. I mean, it should KO, and if it does KO, it pretty much cleans up the game for me. But I'm not willing to take the risk. I'll go for the safer Power Gem play. As they take in Kyurem Black. This doesn't live +1, does it? No. So that looks like it could be game for me, as they end up forfeiting. So GG, we're going to pause till we find one more game, hopefully. Be right back. So we have a game against Mono Grass, and in this game, boy is Kartana absolutely lethal to my team. Sparathorn can be annoying too, as well as Tapu Bulu. So I really like Aerodactyl in this game, as well as Colossus. Nihilego can do good work, especially when these two are gone, but I don't see him giving them up easily. So we're going to try open up a T-Tar, as they open up Cradily. I'll just get a T-Wave up here. It could play a good role later in the game. And get my rocks down. So in this position I crunch them. They go for an Ancient Power, probably trying to roll for a boost. I mean, if they give me Cradily, that's pretty good for me. Ooh, that could get into a lot. We do get Cradily, which is quite good. As they take in Kartana, now hopefully Colossal should be able to tank most of what I throw my way. And unfortunately they crit me and I did not get the burn at all. Really sucks for me. But that thing happens. They take in Tangrowth and take a ton of damage. I can't risk the Earthquake here, so I'm going to go into Arrow. I need Colossal alive, as they go for a knockoff. I'll try get greedy and go for a dance in their face, as it will allow me to outspeed Kartana. They're taking Ferrothorn. Any bit of chip I can get on this is okay, but I'll go into Colossal here and try click Flamethrower. Mostly just picking up a KO. As it actually lives. Surprising. So we're going to spin those away. We don't want the rocks in this game if at all possible. Colossal is still looking fantastic. They're taking Tapu Bulu. I will burn this. We live. Nice. Unfortunately, we missed the burn, which really sucks. So I'm going to take in Tyranitar and sack it to a close combat. Get him Nihilego. Now they do die to a Power Gem. I think it does a ton of damage to Kartana. And we get +1. Come on, Colossal. Please get the burn here. They go for a Smart Strike. And we get the burn and the passive recovery thanks to grassy terrain, which is so good for me. As we get rid of Kartana. So this game is looking possible now with Nihilego clicking Sludge Wave to end the game. We unfortunately don't get the burn again, but there's no way he outspeeds, and he dies to a Sludge Wave here, as well as Whimsicott. So that looks like it's going to be game. Unless it's some sort of like annoying sub-seed Whimsicott. GG. So that is going to be it from today for Mono Rock. So I guess my final thoughts on Mono Rock is it's really fun after the DLC. It got tons of new tools, probably one of the most in any type. It's come such a long way from the beginning of the generation when I think it was really, really bad. So I'm really happy to see it like come such a long way. Now that said, I don't think it's a perfect type. I think it really has to build around beating its weaknesses, if that makes sense. So you can like build a rock team to counter steel, you can build a rock team to counter grass, you can build a rock team to counter water, all that kind of things. But I find it almost impossible to build a rock team to counter everything it's weak to, because it has so many weaknesses. So that's kind of my summation of Mono Rock. Overall though, I do not think it's a bad type. So if you did enjoy this kind of content, definitely leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Helps me out so much, I really do appreciate it. I've linked the team down below if you want to use it, so feel free to use this on ladder, edit it, take any ideas you want from it. And the Discord is also linked down below if you want to come chat to me, get to know the community, just talk about Pokemon, my videos, any teams you want me to send me, any content you'd like to see me do, definitely hit me up there. And that's going to be it for me today, so I hope you have a fantastic day, and take care everyone.